Hey everybody, this is Dilyana Mileva, and I'm excited to bring you Menopause Made Easy, a podcast designed to provide you tips and strategy to navigate the changes in woman's body, mind, and spirit with more grace and ease. I appreciate you tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you are updated of each episode release. Alright, let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome back again to another episode with A Menopause Made Easy. I'm today with amazing Leslie Kasanoff. She's expert in good health specifically. She lives in California. Over the past couple of years, Leslie has been combining her science with holistic and nutrition expertise in health coaching. So I would let Leslie to talk a little bit more about how she came up to this idea to help women and help her clients in the way she help. And what's the story behind this?
So the story behind it is that I was practicing chiropractor for 25 years and always had pretty much a holistic look on life and practice and how I lived my life, how I practiced. And as I moved into menopause, I got bombarded with all of the changes that we all go through. And it seems to be also one of those things with that we're all going through lots of turmoil in our own personal lives at the same time. So lots of stress going on, lots of horrible perimenopause changes. And I took what I thought was going to be a realistic approach, and I went on bioidentical hormones after it being recommended by a medical colleague. And I gained 20 pounds in 2 months.
Wow.
And I said, I'm not having any more of this. And, my mom had been through similar weight gain episodes when she was in this era of life too. And I was like, not picturing 200 plus pound Leslie. So I quit the hormones and I started doing my research, and I went down the tunnel and I discovered the relationship between hormones and food. And I changed up my diet, got off of a few things, basically got off of dairy, really cleaned up my diet, and got back to exercising, taking care of number one, lost the 20 pounds and more. And hot flashes went away. Most of the perimenopause symptoms went away. And I figured, I got something here. So I started working more with some of my clients as they were transitioning too, and found out that this works for most women to do a diet and lifestyle approach.
Yes.
And that's why I am where I am.
I firmly believe that diet play a huge role in hormone balance, together with combination with movement, of course, exercise and healthy lifestyle. What particularly you find out when you did your research, when you heal yourself about how you can gut and mind is related, how much gut health is important for women going through perimenopause and menopause?
Well, so here's the thing, when 15, 20 years ago, when I was being educated about health, we didn't know all this stuff about the gut microbiome. And basically, what we now know is that most of our hormones are in fact made not by our bodies, but by our bodies in coordination with our gut microbiome. And then we absorb all those hormones. So basically, you are feeding the good guy bugs or you're feeding the bad guy bugs, depending on what you're eating. And surprise, surprise, what we find is that what's good for the good bugs is also good for us. Makes perfect sense. And so when we feed our bodies more whole food, and then you add to it the fact that it flies under the radar that when you're eating animal products, you're eating things that are filled with hormones because they're from animal products. And those animals have hormones just like we have hormones. So when you put all that together, it's pretty easy to see.
Yeah. And not only the meat, I think the milk that Westerners used to consume so much, that also affect our hormones.
Well, yes, and the dairy even more so, because the thing that I tell people about dairy, forgive my digression into this description, but dairy is basically bovine growth fluid, right? That's what it is. That's its purpose. It's designed to turn a cute little 40-pound calf into a 1,000-pound cow in a year. So then you look at what's that doing to an adult, fully grown human? Not a pretty picture.
Mm.
And now if you look at just the idea of human milk versus cow's milk, a human triples its weight in its first year. A baby triples its weight in the first year. And our milk has the growth factors and the hormones to make that possible. Well, a cow 40x's its growth in the first year. And that's what you're drinking when you drink dairy. Furthermore, that's what you're concentrating even more so when you eat cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one food that I tell people that if you're going to do nothing else, stop the dairy. And it's really hard to stop it 100% because it's so pervasive in our society. And it's sometimes we make the choice to have a tiny bit of something of it in something, and that's fine. But when you stop consuming it on a daily or weekly basis, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and then the meat about osteoporosis and the bones, that the calcium, it's really nowadays, doctor talk about this, that it's actually opposite, that you can start losing the calcium instead of the gain if you consume too much milk and all this. I would like to ask you, what is your opinion about the soy products and how that affect eventually the diet and the health of women?
I'm glad you asked that question because there is so much misconception about soy and out there in the world, just like there's misconception about dairy. And so the thing about soy is, first of all, soy does not have hormones in it, okay? It has genistein, which does bind to our estrogen sites, but it doesn't behave like estrogen.
Mm.
So it actually allows us, when you look at the bigger picture, it actually allows us to decrease the estrogen in our bodies, to decrease the excess estrogen and bring it back down to the levels that it should be at. Basically, we don't, there's a lot of controversy about soy, and it's all pretty much false controversy because when you look at studies of women who eat soy, Japanese women, Southeast Asian women, they have lower rates of breast cancer, lower rates of ovarian cancer, lower rates of all of the reproductive cancers than we do. So that it's not doing anything there. And studies are now showing that women who have breast cancer or have ovarian cancer have less reoccurrences if they're eating soy.
Mm-hmm. If our estrogen become to decline, what kind of foods you recommend?
Well, in terms of balancing it, the soy is going to help balance it.
Mm.
Studies actually show that if you consume soy daily, it's like the most recent study that I saw was over 80% of the women that consumed soy daily decreased their hot flashes.
So you cannot like overdo. You cannot exaggerate if you if you eat every day.
No, No, you can't no, you can't overdo it. Now, the thing that I do tell people, you want to eat organic soy, or you want to eat at least soy that's labeled non-GMO,
Mm,
okay? Because if it's not labeled non-GMO, it is very likely genetically modified. And there's controversy in genetically modified foods, and add to that the fact that there's also usually a lot of pesticides in genetically modified foods because that's why they're genetically modified so that they can zap them with the pesticides and
yeah,
not kill the food.
yeah. Great. So, how you help specifically with your coaching, with your programs? Do you give some recipe, or what is your approach?
So I work hand in hand with women to basically, what I've really found is that people are sometimes resistant to some of the dietary recommendations that I may make or their medical doctor may make or, whoever may make those recommendations. We're resistant to them until we really dig deep and understand within ourselves what we want out of our life and what we want to be able to do in the next 20, 30, 40 years. So I help women really dig deep and get to those core issues and see their life 10, 20, 30 years from now and give them the choice, help them create that next phase of life so that once they see that vision, it's a lot easier for them to put those foods aside in favor of being able to have that mobility and that brain power and that ability to do what you want to do for the rest of your life. So that's the approach I take, and I do help them in that. I do help them move into a more plant-based lifestyle. And I'm not saying anyone has to be vegan. I'm not vegan. Okay. And I've had people fault me for being, for being where I am on whatever spectrum I am. I am where I am and I'm happy where I am. And each person gets to choose that for themselves. But what I do encourage people to do is a lot more whole foods lifestyle, a lot less animal products. And like I said, if they can eliminate the dairy or virtually eliminate the dairy, they're going to be much better off. And I help them make that transition, help them with recipes, help them with that kind of thing.
Great. You have a challenge actually. What is about the challenge and how they can register for the challenge?
So I have an ongoing 30-day challenge. It's a low cost entry item kind of thing that they can jump in and basically they get 30 days worth of diet suggestions and they also get 30 days of yoga and exercise recommendations.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, you have also Facebook group, right? They can have information there or on
Right.
your website.
Yeah, I do have a Facebook group.
What's the name of the Facebook group?
The Facebook group is called Vibrant Health Over 40.
So they can join and they
Yeah.
can visit your website to find the challenge there.
The challenge, I'll actually have to give you the URL. It's not actually on my website. It's on a landing page.
Okay.
But I'll include that for you.
Okay. So they can register anytime. It's not specific day that they can start.
Right. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
It's an ongoing 30-day.
Great. And then after that, if they want to continue with you, you have next step is to book a call with you and have conversation to have this
Right.
one-on-one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any free gift or something else that they can start using right away?
I have a couple of other things that I could throw in there. I have a handout that I give to my clients called 14 Hormone Hacks that's about balancing your hormones.
Oh, that will be great. That will be great. Everything will be in the show notes. So whenever you listen the episode, you can connect and download all the links and also connect with Leslie. So is there anything one thing that they have to remember today, they can start implement right away to improve their gut health?
The biggest thing is to just live in the possibility that this is just the next chapter in life. And, lots of women, they have lots of negative feelings about menopause. And it's just the next chapter of life, now that I'm 10 years post menopause, more than that, it's like, it's just another chapter.
Yeah. It's,
And it
it's,
doesn't,
it's
it,
not the end of
it's,
the
yeah, it doesn't mean you're growing old. I think that's the biggest takeaway is it doesn't mean you're growing old.
No, embrace the aging actually with and then with positivity, and then the more positive you are, the better you'll be experience.
Yeah. And it's just about keeping that mobility and that brain power and using everything that you have to keep it that way.
Yeah, thank you to remind me. Just one more things about the brain health and brain fog, and what you recommend for omega-3 if the person is plant-based, where they can get their omega-3.
Actually, the interesting thing about that is omega-3s are not made by fish.
That's a good surprise. That's good news. Good news.
Like so many other things, it's just like calcium is not made by cow's bones.
So tell us the secret, because many people don't know that. I'm glad that you asked.
So there are algae sources of omega-3 that are very readily available. And if they have difficulty locating them, they can check in with me about that too, because I have a really good resource for them.
Great. Oh, I'm glad that I asked. So that's important because many people worry exactly about this part and how they can get it, and how they can have this brain function well.
Yeah.
So
Well,
definitely.
and here's the other thing is that your algae sources of omega-3 are so much cleaner because they're not grown in the ocean. They don't have the mercury contamination that all of your fish has, regardless of where it comes from.
Wow.
It's freshwater algae.
Wow.
It's freshwater algae that's in a clean environment.
Great. Okay. Definitely connect with Leslie for more information about this.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Leslie, to be my guest today, to share your time with me and give this wisdom to our audience. Thank you, listeners, to tune in again in Menopause Made Easy. If you want more information about me, how I help, you can visit also menopausesupportacademy.com. Thank you again and have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning into Menopause Made Easy. You can check out more episodes on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and your favorite podcast apps. Check out the show notes for any website linked to this episode, including where to connect with me on social media. I appreciate you tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you'll be updated of each episode release. And visit me at menopausesupportacademy.com for all podcast updates as well. Appreciate you dropping by.